The following is a Shaw TV sports presentation.
Years of the Bedford Road Invitational Tournament being celebrated this weekend here at Bedford Road. Some teams have come in and really dominated on the basketball side of things, but I don't know if there's been as dominant a squad in recent years as the Bedford Road Senior Pom team. 5 championships in a row. Carolyn Parr-Hillstad, talk a little bit about that. That's got to be absolutely thrilling for you as the coach of this team.
I've been very fortunate to have 5 years, well, more than that. I'm in my, I think, 16th year of coaching. And so I love them all, win or lose. But the last 5 years, we've been very fortunate to have really, really strong teams. Just amazing routines that people seem to remember, or memorable routines anyway. And yeah, we've been fortunate to come out on the winning end.
That's outstanding. And of course, this is a long-standing tradition as part of the Bedford Road Invitational Tournament. We heard about it in the opening news conference from Kelly Bowers. This is a real rarity that you have a basketball tournament and cheer and pom all in one event. This is pretty cool, and probably something that we should be talking about here as we celebrate 50 years of BRIT.
Yeah, for sure. It is very special that the whole tournament takes a little hiatus on Saturday at noon, and the place fills up. So come early if you're planning to get a seat, and it's just a really thrilling part that we can have the dance teams take part and the cheer teams from other schools be part of something so special as BRIT.
And of course, this is an event that, like all elements of BRIT, has evolved over the many years that it's been going on. Talk about what we'll see this year, because there are some newer wrinkles in the last few years. It has become, in terms of the competition side of things, more of a pom competition, more of a cheerleading demonstration, perhaps.
Yeah, there are fewer cheer teams competing than when I first started coaching here at Bedford. It was almost all cheer, and we were a solo pom team that did a demo. Now the sport has kind of evolved in schools. Cheer's really big outside of school, but for in-school sport, pom teams have kind of come to the forefront. So we'll have 6 competing pom teams in the senior category. There'll be then 4 junior teams as demo events, and then 2 more high school cheer teams who will demo as well.
Absolutely. We have that 5-time defending champion team right here behind us getting ready, looking for their 6th straight. There's also 3 other teams here at Bedford Road that are going to be part of the Bedford Road Invitational Tournament. Plus, you're also looking after all the halftime entertainment. What is this weekend like for Carolyn Parr-Hillstad? Is it just coffee nonstop all weekend long?
Tea, lots of tea. I'm a tea drinker, and it is. Yeah, it's just go, go, go. We're really excited to be having Michael Linklater and his 3-on-3 team coming this year as a new halftime show. You know, they're making a name for themselves on the world stage, and Michael played here in BRIT when he was a Mount Royal athlete, and so to have him come back with his team, it's pretty exciting to add that new element to our halftimes. And then we have a variety of great local dance entertainment, and then we end every year with the pipes and drums. So that keeps me going. Plus our alumni pom team is back, our junior team, our senior team, and our hip hop team. So it's kind of go, go, go the whole weekend.
Absolutely, a whole lot going on here at Bedford Road, in addition to, of course, the great basketball. We will see the pipes and drums coming up later on tonight when we have the championship game from the Bedford Road Invitational Tournament. But right now, let's check out the BRIT cheerleading and pom competition.
That's right, it's the BRIT Cheerleading and Pom Showcase for 2018. Now this is a big year, a big deal. Why? because it's the 50th annual. What an outstanding achievement for everyone involved. I'm Jackie Kripke with Shaw TV. Welcome. And with me is Alexander Schubert. Now, Alexander, you have a bit of a history with BRIT. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm a former graduate of Bedford Road. I've competed in the BRIT cheerleading competition in my grade 9 and 10 year. I've coached teams that have been in this competition, and I've been a part of the Shaw Cable experience for the past few years now. So I'm really excited to be back. BRIT is probably my favorite time of the year. We like to call it BRITmas.
That's a good expression. We might have to adopt that here. And you're going to have fantastic insights about all the cheering and stunts that we're going to see. So thank you so much for being here. We have so much to show you. 20 teams coming up, cheerleading, pom, incredible, all ages and all skill levels. And like I said, Alexander's going to walk us through everything that we're going to see. As you can see on the floor, we're still going through the last game before the cheer pom event begins. So you're going to have to hang with us. So we're going to take a look back from the vault. We're going to go back in time. We can't go back 50 years, but we're going to go back 10 years to 2008 and take a look at the Bedford Road team and their performance. Let's take a look.
These guys were champions in 2005, 2006, lost it last year when Marion Graham came in and won it. Always a very solid team though, Nicole, and always have the home crowd on their side here.
They definitely have home crowd advantage, which, you know, can either make it better or more stressful, you know. Very clean, nice cradles. Got that cheer out of the way, which is mandatory.
And it seems like most teams will start with the cheer. Is that the way it goes normally? Or
Yeah, it's a good call to make. It's a good call so that you don't break the flow of the music. Just some wobbliness over there. We had a nice pull down in the middle. You want to try to see if you can get jumps connected to each other. You're going to get a little bit more points there. That was a nice sequence, some good tumbling, some good use of the floor too.
I can see the way you look at me. And even when you look away, I know you think of me. I know you talk about me all the time, again and again.
They're saving those stunts. The timing's a bit off, but I like that they've added the twists in there. I want to see those. Here's where you see their faces come alive. That's what that routine judge is going to be looking for. Those are clean, nice straight legs. Good basket tosses.
Yo, brother A to Z.
Yo, what's up, babe?
I like this, very effective, because now you've got the crowd actually clapping with them.
Yo, what time is it?
Haha.
Fall back down. You're gonna get me back up again. Fall back down.
There on our right side.
You're gonna be my friend. The Bedford Road Senior Cheer Team.
Well, the home fans here at Bedford Road loved it. Will it be good enough to bring them another championship? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, a look back from the vault at the Bedford Road cheerleading team. Now, we're going to see both cheer and pom here today. Alexander, can you explain the difference between the two for our audience?
Yep, so the competition has primarily turned into a pom competition now over the years. We've seen, as Par was saying before, less cheerleading teams, more pom teams. So these pom teams are essentially school dance teams that use pom-poms. So it'll be a combination of lyrical, jazz, and lyrical and jazz dancing, as well as some hip-hop, to kind of create these routines that are engaging the crowd, keeps the judges watching, and, you know, lots of high energy. We're going to look for transitions, making shapes with not only the athletes' arms, but the formations themselves. jumps, and really seeing some skills that they're going to need technical skills as well, such as kicks, jumps, and turns. So you really get a good mix of what the dance world is when you're on one of these pom teams. Now, cheerleading is a lot more of a gymnastic style sport where you'll see tumbling, jumps again like the pom, and as well as stunts. So stunts are when multiple athletes will get together to lift another athlete in a sequence. And that's kind of where we see the difference in pom. In pom, you're only allowed to lift someone as much as they could be if they were to do the jump themselves. Let's say, maybe a little bit of extra something here or there. But with cheer, you're holding athletes above your head, you're doing tosses, there's a lot going on, connected stunts as well, and it all kind of accumulates to that score sheet. So we're going to be seeing from the cheerleading programs, I believe Aiden Bowman, the senior program there, has a team, and then a lot of the younger athletes too who cheer at the local clubs in Saskatchewan. So that's really exciting.
So we're going to see demonstration teams. So the only competition will be the pom, the senior pom,
That's
I believe,
correct.
correct? But we're going to see demonstrations from the younger teams. We've even got an elementary school. And we've got the little mini kids, which are so adorable, working on their skills as they work their way up. And are those cheer teams or pom teams, the little ones?
The little ones will be cheer teams.
Okay, so they're working on their early skills, those foundational skills. Now, does that help to start that young, or do some of the performers we're going to see here today start at the high school level? Do you need to start that early?
It really does make a difference. You can compare it to gymnastics or even dance, and you can tell when an athlete has developed that body control at a young age, when they're comfortable with their body, learning the skills. The sooner you start, the more you can progress.
We're going to take a look down on the floor. I think we've got a couple of teams watching from the sidelines. We've got the Bethlehem Senior Pom is first up. You'll see them.
Bethlehem has had a strong program for
All right,
a number
ladies
of
and
years,
gentlemen,
since the beginning of the
the
school
judges
itself.
are ready, the fans are ready,
They have these dance
everybody's
programs.
ready. It's time for the competition. Our first
You can hear them
competing team,
warming
please
up the
welcome
audience.
The Bethlehem Senior
Here
Pom.
they go.
So here's our first team off the hop, and you can see right now from the second they step onto the mat until they step off, they are choreographed. They're counting their steps, and it's exciting to see.
And how do we know the theme? Do we wait till the music to begin, or do
Wait
we
until
get a
the
little
music,
bit of hints from
the
their gorgeous
costumes
costumes?
can allude to it. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's kind of a guessing game
Kind
off
of
the
Middle
bat.
Eastern. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, beautiful.
Good luck, Bethlehem Senior Pom. Here we go. Now you're talking unity. Is that what the judges are looking for? That they're
Yes.
working in unison?
Everything needs to be at the exact same time. The idea with these routines is you can imagine you're taking a picture on every count, every half count, and you want everyone to be doing the exact same thing when you take that picture.
Wow.
So that's the goal for these pom teams, and they need to not only do that, but to be going fast, and it can come down to even the angle of their arms, right? If someone's going at 70 degrees and you have someone else at 75, the judges will be able to catch that.
That is a lot of pressure then to hit every mark. What happens if you make a stumble?
Well, typically you hope that you weren't seen. That's kind of the biggest thing. But in pom, because you can't really drop an athlete or that sort of thing, the ways that judges deduct points are if you drop a pom or if you fall out of a jump or something like that, and then they're just really, really looking for that formations, the shapes, making sure everyone's in unison, and as well the energy that the team is giving out. This is a very high energy routine. You can tell the athletes are having a lot of fun, and that does account for your score sheet.
You sure can. You can see it in the smiles on their faces, and they're not forced. I love that when it seems an infectious energy that they're not being forced to plaster a smile on. It's so great.
Exactly.
I love this. I love the colors and the pageantry.
Yeah. So you can see some parts here. That was a jump, so that's one of the technical skills that they'll have to be performing throughout the routine, as well as turns. And it really just comes down to those formations and the unity on the squad. And we saw one earlier on, but they also will do a pom toss, it's called. So that's part of their score sheet as well, where they have to exchange poms with their teammates, throw them up and catch them themselves. And that's the part that they usually stress the most. They'll practice it a ton.
Well, especially if your nerves take over and you just throw a little too hard, I imagine it'd be easy for it to go flying.
It really has to be muscle memory at this point.
Oh my gosh.
So now they're going into a fouette turn section with a pitch kick at the end, so really trying to maximize those technical skills. And you can see now we're turning into a bit of a hip-hop section.
Wow. They are starting this off with a bang. It's a fantastic routine. Wow, Bethlehem Senior Pom starting
Ladies and
it
gentlemen,
off.
the Bethlehem
Fantastic
Senior
job.
Pom.
That was a gorgeous routine, gorgeous costumes, lots of energy, and they didn't seem to have the nerves take over at all. Now, they didn't do the pom toss
Ladies and
we were
gentlemen, the
talking about, did they not?
Bedford Junior Pom team is coming off a successful
Okay.
season at the
Taught it
Triple
earlier on,
SAD
but I was
City
talking
Junior
about something
Champions
else.
and the Provincial
So-
Junior Champions in the Pom Dance
when you
Division.
design a
The
routine,
team is
are there
coached and
certain things you have
choreographed
to
by
include,
Miss
or do you
Parr with
include it based
assistance
on the skill
from
of your
former
team?
Bedford dancer
There are
Michaela
certain
Leadoff.
things that you have to
With
include.
16
It's not
brand
like a
new grade 9
checklist as
members
in you
and
need
4
this kind of
returning
jump,
vets.
this kind of
This
kick,
young
because then
team
that
is
does limit
excited
a
to
lot of
share
the
their new
creative
routine
power
with
that the
you.
coach and the choreographers
We hope you
do
enjoy
have.
the weather
But
report.
there are
Please
certain
welcome
things they need to
the
make. The
Bedford Road
expectation
Junior
is that
Pom
they're going to have
team.
lots of formations, lots of transitions, and
Okay.
very high energy. They do have a score sheet, so the judges are judging based off of a standardized set of rules that they have been trained on. So,
Okay.
but here we have the Bedford Road Junior Pom team, which also is a strong program that's been developed a bit more recently than the senior team, but they've been going for, I think, 5 or 6 years now.
Now, again, this is just a demo team, not just a demo team, but they're not in the competition.
No, not yet.
This is a separate category than the junior.
Yep, so the junior pom teams, the athletes have to be in grades 9 or 10, and it's a little bit more of a learning experience, which is nice. They can get more athletes involved, get them introduced to the sport so that they're ready for that senior team.
Must be a lot of pressure to be in front of the home gym as well. Good energy, but also more
has a
pressure.
bit of a staple with their pom routines where they'll make shapes with the whole team using poms, and they've been doing that for a number of years now, which is really great to see that they're keeping on the tradition. Very happy and uplifting routine. These demo teams are good because they provide the judges an opportunity to jot down everything that they need to say. We're not having that buffer time in between routines, and it gives the crowd something to watch as well, because you don't want the crowd getting bored of it.
Well, and imagine it's so important for the competitors, or sorry, I guess the participants, to learn to get used to performing in front of such a big crowd, and as they move up in levels. So is the junior level simply a matter of age, or is it also skill level? Like, do you have to have a certain amount of skill before you move on to the senior?
No, so it's just the age category. That being said, you can be on a senior team in grade 9 or 10, provided that you are able to compete at the same level as the rest of the athletes.
Wow.
So even with these junior teams, they're not competing at this competition, but at every other competition that they go to, they will be competing. And there are teams coming out of Regina as well with junior programs, which is exciting.
Yeah, that is fantastic. The more it grows, like you said, the more the competition, the better everyone gets, and the more it's going to thrive. So I noticed they had some of those teams performing at the halftime yesterday during basketball, and I saw someone with ice underneath. So what happens if you lose maybe a participant to injury on the day of? Do you reform the routine?
You know, sometimes there's nothing you can do with reforming the routine. A lot of the times the athletes will just stick it out even though the coach will tell them not to.
Wow.
Even though it's a safety issue.
They tough it through.
They tough it through because they love the sport and they're so committed to that team that they don't want to let anything get in the way of that.
Wow. So here we see the Warman Ultimate Cheerleading Pearls team. So Warman is a large, fast-growing all-star cheerleading club in Saskatchewan. As you mentioned, programs for all levels and ages. And these guys are 6 and under.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, they are just adorable.
Yeah, pretty cute. This is the first cheerleading team we'll see today. And you know, with these younger athletes, this is actually one of the more skilled teams that you see. A lot of the time it is organized babysitting when they're starting out. But, you know, getting them working their bodies, developing that body awareness, as well as those tumbling and stunt skills, and just the idea of working with other athletes in a team setting are fundamental skills that these athletes need to learn, and that will help them out in all aspects of their life.
Yeah,
see a
so
little bit of
well
help
said.
from the coaches, too. These young teams are a good opportunity for new coaches as well as seasoned coaches to get some experience. Oftentimes, at Prairie Fire, we'll have some of our younger coaches working with the younger teams as well as with a seasoned coach so they can have that training experience and develop their coaching skills while it's still a little more casual.
Right. And it's all about safety, I imagine, for these little tykes too, because you never want them to have an injury.
No, you wouldn't.
These guys are doing a fantastic job and really great energy as well. Once again, it feels like they're really feeling they know their routine without a lot of direction, it seems, which is great.
Really good to see out of these younger athletes. Here you can see some tumbling, so they're doing
Great
back
tumbling.
walkovers there. And like you were saying with the safety, watch that Bedford Road routine from 10 years ago, and back then, their only rule was you can't put a stunt upside down.
Oh my goodness.
That's pretty much all they had to work with, and they kind of got free reign. It was kind of make the hardest stunts you can that are safe, and that did lead to some issues because it wasn't quite so regulated. So now how the cheerleading industry works is it's a leveled system. It is standard across the world now.
Okay.
Every country uses these USASF rules, they're called, and they go through levels 1 through 6. So these athletes are level 1 athletes. That means their tumbling is going to be walkovers, rolls, cartwheels, nothing that's springing off the ground or getting that impact. Their
Okay.
stunts won't really go above that extended level above their head unless it's connected to something else for safety. And it really allows these athletes to develop at a pace that's right for them.
That's fantastic, and yet it's not holding them back because they're doing some really amazing stuff. And I'm really impressed that they're in such good unison.
Yeah.
I know they've got coaches down on the
Ladies and
ground.
gentlemen,
The crowd is eating these kids up. It's amazing.
Oh, it's a lot of
They
fun.
have stolen the show so far. Way to go, Pearls.
And you can see the girls are just running off the mat, really excited. You can tell they had a lot of fun out there, and
Oh my
they
goodness,
love
that
to
was
perform in front of the
fantastic.
crowd.
Here's a look back at some of the top moves here, some of the replay from the.
So that's their jump
That's
section.
fantastic.
Yep. Really good timing there for the young athletes.
And this lift in particular, people were screaming in the
So you
crowd.
can see when they're connected like that, that's what we
Right.
call a pyramid.
Okay.
So that's when you can kind of do those
Ladies
harder
and
level
gentlemen, our
skills because you have someone
competing
bracing you
pom
for
team,
safety
please
and that sort of
the
thing.
Centennial Collegiate Senior Pom.
That was fantastic. Way to go, Pearls. Okay, here's our second team in the competition, the Centennial Senior Pom.
And like
I recognize some of these fashions from the 80s.
Yep.
Hello.
a little
got
bit
a-
before my time, but
You don't need to rub it in, Alexander.
yeah, Centennial's another one of those schools with a really, really strong dance program, which then leads to a strong pom team as well. So, you know, all these high schools
Right.
in recent years have had these dance programs developed, and the teachers who run it really take ownership over it. They develop these athletes both inside and outside of the classroom. And you can see a really high energy routine from the Centennial Pom squad.
Now, last year, they took second place overall. They had a great routine.
Yeah.
And the last time they won the event was back in, I think, 2012, and before that, 2009. So I bet they're just aching to get back up on top.
Yeah, no, they really want. They're gunning for it. There is a little bit of a rivalry between Bedford Road and Centennial Collegiate. It's a healthy rivalry.
It's a healthy
but
rivalry, as it should be.
Yeah, so you
Good
can
for
see
them.
this routine is very high paced. The athletes are pretty. It doesn't look like that because they're graceful, but they are sprinting around the mat to get to these formations, and really cohesive, really good timing for everything. Really high energy.
You can really see that unison when we show you the shots from the front,
Yeah.
and they are doing a
Even
spectacular
there, I like those
job.
diagonal shots as well because the diagonal is when you can tell if someone's not in the right place.
Aha,
if they're
okay.
out of line.
Now we'll be watching.
Yeah. So they're making great use of their palm motions here, putting some contrast in with a slowed down move and then speeding it up again. And you can see it's just formation after formation.
Wow.
And they don't really stop moving.
They don't, you're right, and they make it look effortless, but
They
they
really
must
do.
be. I
Oh,
bet they're
yeah.
wiped by the end of this.
Yeah, it's a lot of, they run this routine over and over so that they can prepare for it as best they can. But you know, when you get to that performance, it's really just about putting your all out, and they drain themselves after something like this. But
Now, how
sorry, go
long
ahead.
have they been training in this routine in particular?
So in
let's say?
Saskatoon, with the cheerleading and pom programs here, we have a rule where they can't run tryouts until October 31st,
Okay.
November 1st. So these teams have only been working together, these pom teams, for 2 months.
That's
to put this
incredible.
routine
Look at them.
together. So
They
a
look
lot
like
of
they've
the
been
time-
dancing together for
yeah,
a year.
they'll have Christmas break practices. They'll be up early in the morning, staying late after school. It wouldn't be surprising for them to be putting in over 10 hours a week for these routines come crunch time for BRIT.
Oh my goodness. Well, you can see the dedication paying off because that was spectacular.
Yeah, and this team
Way
is
to
coached
go,
by
Centennial.
Polo Howlett, who actually used to coach at Bedford Road. And
That's fantastic.
He moved over, and it's great to see that he's continuing the strength of this program and developing these athletes.
Right.
Like I said earlier, you know, it's fun to win, but it's even more fun to win when everyone's putting their all out and everyone
That's
has
right.
a great routine.
That's right. There's that toss we talked about, and she caught the. How many times do you practice that toss to get it just right?
Over and over again, because you know that's one of those things that can really take you from first to last place if you have even one dropped palm.
Really?
Yeah.
It's that important. Okay. Well, you don't want to be the participant to do that
No,
drop
exactly.
then either, do
And
you?
you just feel awful.
Let down
but
your team.
It's like what happens when something like that happens is usually the athlete who made the mistake feels terrible, but the rest of the team just wants to support them because it's a team sport. You win together, you lose together.
Right.
It's once again that healthy competitive environment.
Now, this is the Willow Grove Elementary School team that we were talking about, and it's amazing to see how many are in this team.
Yeah, tons of athletes at this
Obviously, this is
program.
very popular at their school.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I think I can recognize
What
them.
level would this be then?
This
when
is
you're talking
still
about
a
the
level
cheer?
1 team.
Level 1 team, okay.
So their skills are a little bit more advanced than what we saw from the younger athletes, but still you can see they're not passing beyond that extended position. And their tumbling is they're only doing walkovers and that sort of thing, not seeing handsprings or tucks or flips or anything like that. You can see they move into a pyramid section here.
Great job.
A little bit of music cutout, but they're keeping it going.
Keep it going.
Can't account for that. Things always happen, and it's just important to stay strong, count out as a team, and make it happen regardless.
This is a really high energy music as well.
Yeah. I really like cheerleading music because you get a different song every 10 or 15
seconds. Yeah.
And for my short attention span, it keeps me watching.
Great job, Willow Grove. Oh my goodness, that was great.
I think I recognize a few Prairie Fire athletes who I've coached
Ladies
on
and
this
gentlemen,
team,
the
so you
Willow
can see that
Grove
they're doing it at
cheer
school, they're
team.
doing it on the cheer team
That's
at the
right.
club as well.
Does that really get in? I mean, how do you know when they're starting out if they're going to stick with it? Do people just instantly love it?
It's kind of either
Up
love it or
next,
hate
ladies
it, but
and
most of the
gentlemen,
time you love
please
it.
welcome
It's just
Tommy
one of those
Douglas,
things. It's
senior
kind of a weird
cheer.
sport. It's a young sport.
It is.
And it's something that is just a really unique way to bring people together. So
Yeah. Well, and there's an incredible amount of skills involved, I imagine, because there's so many different kinds of strength, as we talked about, our diversity on the team. But also kind of, again, the pageantry of it, right? It's about showing off. And so you can really see, I love when you watch a participant in particular who you can tell is just really in their zone.
yeah.
They're just there.
Exactly.
And it's so
there's
fantastic.
those certain athletes who can just suck the crowd in. They're charismatic. They're those natural performers.
Yes.
And that's what the judges are really looking for. And oftentimes those athletes are also, those core culture members of the team. They're bringing the team up. Often will move into those captain roles. And it's really great to see kind of the rest of the team feeding off of that energy and providing their own energy as well. So this now, I believe, is a level 2 routine.
This is Tommy Douglas, senior cheer, I believe.
Oh, okay. Oh, so we do have a few senior cheerleading programs in the competition. So we'll see they're doing an inverted transition right now into the stunt, which wasn't allowed in level 1.
Wow.
In a certain way, and they had some tosses earlier as well that we saw. It looks like they're preparing for another stunt.
Lifting and moving on the go.
Yeah,
Yikes.
so half
Wow.
twisting up to those double bases. That's called the double base when they hold the athlete at eye level.
Okay.
And transitioning into a pyramid and extended lip. That's a liberty position when they hold 1 foot above and into a switch dog. So that would be an example of one of the elite skills that they're going to be trying to showcase in their routine.
Okay.
So with cheerleading, it is a little bit more structured. They have a list of skills that are essentially legal and not legal. It's kind of like gymnastics in that sense, and you have to meet a certain quota of these skills, as well as providing, lower level skills to make transitions and the formation changes. So when you get to the really high level of cheerleading at the world championship level, not only will you see them combining multiple high level stunts, but they're going to be moving while they do it.
Wow.
And it's such a high level of athleticism that's really only developed in the past 10 or 15 years in this sport.
Okay. So not the cheer that we're all used to seeing in sporting events, and historically,
No.
it's far more athletic.
It's athletic. The athletes are training 20 hours a week.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, gymnastics. They have private gymnastics coaches. It's really the full experience. At Prairie Fire, we have our athletes practice with their team twice a week, and then additionally, for some of the more competitive teams, they will take a tumbling class as well, and that's mandatory. And then on top of that, we offer optional tumbling classes for those who want to progress. And then furthermore, you can take private lessons. You get a one-on-one with the coach, and that's where you kind of see the athletes develop a lot of their
Ladies
skills.
and
But
gentlemen,
it's really turned into, it's one of those
Douglas
sports where if you put the time in, you
Senior
put the work in, you're going to see results. And so that's great for the athletes as well.
Absolutely. Great job, Tommy Douglas. That was fantastic to see a bit of the higher level so we can see some of those stunts you were talking about. Oh, wow, the crowd is going crazy. I'll try not to yell. Bedford Road Collegiate Senior Prom. You can tell it's the home team. Now, if they win this year, it'll be 6 years in a row.
Yeah.
So you can tell the pressure's on for them.
Pressure is on, but they're definitely excited. BRIT is, when I was a cheerleader at Bedford Road and when my sister was on the pom team, BRIT is your biggest competition of the year. Like, it's great to win city championships and provincials and the smaller competitions, but BRIT is in your home base. You need to hold the house down.
And it's a 50-year tradition, and I think the cheer's been happening nearly that long. I think since 1971 there's been some form of it. So such an amazing tradition to continue. Such an honor to be part of this school and this event, because when you're here, the energy is just incredible, and people love it.
You can see I've even perked up in my seat a little bit cheering for my home team.
Oh, I think that's allowed. We'll give you a pass.
So you can expect from Carolyn Parr-Hillstead, like I said, runs a tight ship with this program, and the athletes love it. They love the structure, they love how competitive it is, and it really drives them to success. So we're going to see a really fast-paced routine here, lots of transitions, lots of tosses. They're going to maximize that score sheet with those elite level skills.
I mean, my stomach's in knots and has butterflies, and I'm not performing.
You can imagine how they're feeling
how
right
they're
now.
feeling is probably pretty intense and overwhelming. So we're just taking a look at some of the cheerleaders and the pom team.
Bedford Road alumni on camera right now.
Oh.
Who are, I believe, coaches.
It's a little bit chaotic in the gym here, as you might be able to
is
tell.
excited to kick off their season at home at BRIT 50. The team is made up of 20 dancers from grades 9 to 12 with only 7 returning members. They are coached and choreographed by Miss Parr with assistance of POM alumni Gabby Kuzin and Lila Hedayat. They are so grateful for the opportunity to share their passion for dance with you today and hope you all get on board with their new routine. Please welcome the Bedford Road Senior Pom Team.
So you can see that they already have that energy as soon as they walk onto the mat. I can see a few athletes who I know this is their 4th year on the team, and they're walking out like they own this place.
They own it.
Yep. Already with the sassy start.
Absolutely, sassy is a good way to put it.
Boarding the Bedford Express. Next stop, BRIT 50.
Wow, the energy in the room is impossible to describe. It's incredible. Now, in the past, they've had an airline-themed one. I remember that one. And now it looks like we got a bit of a locomotion train theme.
They've really done it all. They've had airplanes, circus, Paris, and they just kind of, I think they just used a prop there to make kind of an explosion happen above them. So you can see really good elite level skills, and they're just moving so fast here. You kind of don't really know what to watch, and when you finally figure it out, they're already doing something else.
Now, is it hard to keep up that level of one after the other, one after the other?
It is, but you know, when you hear the crowd cheering you on, it builds you up even more, and you just get more excited as the routine goes on. And you know, you see with the Bedford Road team, the centennial team, these athletes are constantly moving. In this routine will be choreographed in such a way that each athlete has a place from start to finish. And that's to make these shapes and formations, to make sure you're showcasing certain skills at certain times, and to make sure that all the athletes can get in the spotlight.
I really love when they pass the palms, but I get so nervous when they throw them. How much are the judges looking at individual, let's say an individual does some spectacular moves or stunting or twirls or tumbles?
The individual is important. If a team chooses to perform a skill, it's expected that they can do that skill perfectly.
Oh, wow.
So here you can see an example of one of those flips that they can do assisted in prom. But yeah, it's really, you don't want to put something out that's not going to be perfect.
Right.
And the judges will be watching for that, but they're really looking for that cohesiveness. It is a team sport.
Thanks for choosing Bedford Express.
An excellent routine from Bedford Road. That
Ladies and gentlemen,
routine
the
just kind of
Bedford
flew by there.
Road Senior Pom.
Now we're going to take a look back at some of the highlights from that routine, and there were a lot of highlights to choose from. There was that explosion you talked about.
Yep. So they're always trying to do something new and exciting.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Centennial Junior team is exciting
those
to
are
be
called rushes, those
demonstrating the
split jumps
routine
that
for
they
the
did, and
first
you know they
time
do the
this
split
season.
jump, and then they're already on to
They
something
have a
else.
team of 12
Everything
members
is
this year being
choreographed.
coached and choreographed by 3
Really
senior
making use of
students,
the whole
Hannah,
mat space,
Kenzie,
spreading out
and
their
Maddie.
athletes. There
The
are
team's
only
been
20
practicing to
athletes
learn
on this
this
team,
fast-paced
so it's hard to fill up
routine,
that
and they
mat,
hope
you know,
enjoy it.
especially when some of
They're
these
looking
teams
forward
have
to a
30 athletes,
challenging
that sort of
2018
thing.
season.
And it's
Ladies
as well,
and gentlemen,
it gives the
please
judges
welcome
more
the
opportunity to spot
Centennial
your faults if
Junior
there's less people to look at. So there's some challenges, but it is also, easier to manage a team
Also
like that
more
when there's less
opportunity,
athletes
yeah, you
and
can
more
focus.
opportunity to showcase your athletes. So it's really, there's going to be challenges regardless of what kind of team you put together.
What's the smallest team you can have?
I think you can go, there's no real, I think 5 people is the smallest you can do. And for cheerleading teams, it's 8. And then they can have a maximum of 42 athletes.
Looks like we've got 12 on the Centennial Junior Pom demo team.
All right, another demo team.
Oh, I like this music.
Yeah. There you can see a ripple being used where the athletes are doing the same thing, just a little bit off time to create that effect. And some partner work as well.
Again, very spread out, making use of that home mat. Like you said.
The best is when you can see, the athletes spread all the way across the map, and the next thing you know, they're in a tight clump together doing something really cohesive and fast, and it's just how you make those contrasts within the routine, and it's really nice that you get to see the coach's creative elements, and as well the athletes help develop these routines. Sometimes the coach will come in and say, look, we need something to transition here, a few counts. Does anyone have any ideas? And they'll use that, as well as former alumni are often usually coaching these teams. So it's great that you can work to help develop the program that once gave you so much. It's nice to be able to give back to that.
I was going to ask you about that, who develops them, and as well then, who develops the music? Is that, or the choices, is that as well the coach usually?
That's the coaches. I think with these POM teams, they will usually just cut their own music because they don't have as many of the crazy sound effects that cheerleading routines do.
Okay.
And in cheerleading, you'll contract it off at Prairie Fire. We work with a company, I think, in California that does all of our music, and I know Warman does similar. It's all, there's industry standards associated with it. And what's interesting about the music is in recent years with cheerleading, it's gotten so big that they're airing it on ESPN and TSN and these large networks. So before you didn't have any limitations with what music you could use, but now it's kind of copyright infringement comes up, and they have to worry about that now. So these music companies are struggling to be able to run an affordable service that still has high quality music, but they have to almost essentially produce their own music for the team. So that's been an interesting industry change, as you can see how much growth there is in both the cheer and pom across the world.
Absolutely, big changes, and we've dealt with that ourselves. And I know when we put a lot of these shows online for people to watch around the world, and music infringement is a big deal and a very important one, of course. But I can see how when you're on a team in a small scale performing, dealing with these large issues must be an extra.
Because 10 years ago, these events were filmed on a closed TV. You would get a copy of your DVD for you to watch at home, and the routines would go up on YouTube. But now it's on that national scale that.
Fantastic moves there.
So next,
I really love that end flip. I'm
Yeah.
glad she landed it there. Centennial Junior Pom. That was a really good routine and so high energy. They held it to the end. Sometimes you can see them kind of fading towards the end.
And that's the thing that teams often struggle with most is keeping that energy up. You're tired. You can't breathe, but you have to put that smile on. You have to keep making those crazy faces at the judges, and you have to show it, like even in how you're standing and your posture. You can't be slouching for something like this.
Okay. Well, that's a good reminder for us to sit up, put my shoulders up.
Yeah.
I can't get lazy. They're doing all the work.
Exactly.
So this is Warman Ultimate Cheerleading, the Amethyst. So their ages 6 to 8, I believe.
Okay.
And this, I believe, is a cheer prep level. So it's kind of a semi-competitive team. They don't attend competition, or fewer competitions rather, and they don't compete out of town. So maybe it's a perfect kind of level, and maybe Prairie Fire has this as well. When you want to get involved, but you're like, we don't want to travel and commit to 20 hours a week.
Yeah, so this is a great opportunity for athletes to try out the sport, and it is a lot less competitive. They run off the same score sheet, but their score sheet is limited to what they can actually do. So their high-level skills in this routine would be considered maybe a lower-level skill for another athlete in a non-prep level division, if that makes sense. And they're still able to compete at most of the competitions. They just choose to run a less intense program. It's easier for the parents, especially if these kids are doing multiple sports and figuring out what they like, because it's good to have as many opportunities as you can.
Absolutely, and I imagine that the gymnastics portion as well will benefit you in so many other sports.
Really
the teamwork and also just the general flexibility and all those things that you need so much in many other sports.
in recent years at Prairie Fire, well, in the past, I should say, there's been a lot less emphasis on the gymnastics training, and it was kind of, okay, let's get you throwing these skills as fast as we can so we can have them. But now it's exactly like gymnastics. You know, you don't get to work on a new skill until you've perfected the first one, and you have to make your way up slowly and develop those basics, develop that core strength, because it's been preventing injuries, and we've seen a lot less injuries at Prairie Fire. And not only that, since we're working these skills at a slower rate and making sure their muscles and body coordinations develop, the athletes end up gaining skills a lot faster and having a lot more success in the execution of these skills. You know, I would always joke that you can tell when a cheerleader has done gymnastics before or when they're just Saskatchewan tumbling, I like to call it. But we do have great gymnastics programs in Saskatchewan, so I don't want to knock that.
No, but it's a good.
It's really changed in the past years that you see, wow, these kids, they're engaging their shoulders, they're doing these things that are important in tumbling that you just didn't see 10 years ago.
Raising the sport up as a whole, like you said, and a fast-growing sport too.
Yeah, really kicking off. Prairie Fire in the past few years has expanded their gym. We now have 2 full floors.
Wow.
And are operating with, we've just purchased, there's 2 of these. This floor right here that we see are just mats on the ground, which is great for kind of general safety, but the best experience that we can give these athletes is what's called a sprung floor. So that gives them a little bit less impact on their wrists. It provides them with a little more boost in their jumps and their tumbling. Athletes often prefer to compete and practice on the sprung floor as well, but it is just such a big safety factor, and it's kind of crucial for any club or gym that's operating to have that sprung floor. And Prairie Fire this year has gotten the kind of newest sprung floor technology. It's a double sprung, it's called, so they'll have multiple panels underneath, making sure that there's no faults in the springs, there's no kind of difference between one spot or another. It's all going to give you the same bounce, and it's going to give you that really nice bounce as well that's super consistent. So it's great to see that at Prairie Fire. Lots of development in the past recent years.
How does it transition then for the athletes when they come to this, for an example, and then there's a different mat? Like, does that change their routine or how they attempt a move?
Well, they'll often give the athletes, if they don't have that sprung floor, the opportunity to warm up on a sprung floor if they're going to be competing on it, so they can get a feel for it. It'll make their jumps higher. For these palm teams, it changes how you turn a little bit because there's more bounce with the floor.
Right.
But yeah, in general, BRIT competition is a little different because we only have a minute and a half to get things set up, but every other cheerleading competition that takes place in Saskatchewan does use that sprung floor.
Okay.
And all the major gyms in the province also have a sprung floor. There are some newer ones that are just getting started that will have some sprung floor, but they might not have that full floor yet. And yeah, lots of cross development you can see. So in the front here, that's actually an athlete I've coached at Prairie Fire before, so she's in the cheerleading and the palm programs, kind of getting that full mix of the performance world.
That ripple effect you mentioned earlier.
Yep.
So this is Tommy Douglas Collegiate Senior Palm. So again, this is one of the competing teams for that.
Yep, they're gunning it for that top spot, and you can see they have really high energy, really exciting costumes.
I love the costumes. I kind of want one, but I think that would be inappropriate.
There's one of those palm tosses we saw executed successfully.
Good job.
And
my
two
goodness.
athletes performing a side aerial, which is one of the highest level skills that they can compete in this palm.
And so when they're looking at the score sheet, I'm sorry to always come back to the judging questions, but I think I find it fascinating. So is it the higher level that they get a more point? Would they get higher points for a higher level move?
Well, I'm not 100% sure with the palm division. With cheerleading, how it works is you have a difficulty score and an execution score. And I think palm does have something similar to that. And it comes down to, like I said, you're not going to put out a skill that you can't perform.
Right.
Often it works more in their favor to have an easier skill that the whole team can execute.
Can nail.
Exactly. But I know that in the past few years, palm has moved away from skills execution and really just focusing on that dance aspect, the creativity, the energy, the formations, and the unity between athletes.
And the unity is what I imagine is so hard.
Yep, that's the trickiest part, is how do you coordinate 25 athletes to do the exact same thing at the same time?
Exact same time. Way to go, Tommy Douglas.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Tommy Douglas Senior Palm.
Last year they had a tea party theme. And this year, I don't know what theme you'd call it. I'm going to call it the rainbow. That was fantastic, and what a beautiful costumes.
All right, our next demo
Where
team.
do the costumes
Please
come from? Do they have to order them all?
They'll have to order them. So
My
one
goodness.
of these biggest things with these cheerleading and palm teams at the high school level is fundraising.
You're right.
These athletes, because they compete in Edmonton, they compete in Regina, and they don't want to put that expectation on the athletes and the parents to be able to pay for that. So the teams work together, and this also helps with the team cohesiveness, but they work together to make sure everyone can come on these trips and everyone has an opportunity to do it. And it adds to that community feel, because everyone's worked to be here in more ways than just on the dance floor.
That's really great to hear. Bethlehem Junior Pom, last year they did a Wild West. They're very creative with their routines. This is a flapper look, obviously. It's fantastic. I feel like the costumes are really developing over the years.
Yep.
A lot more sparkle and a lot more glamour.
Yep. It's been a trend for the past few years. You can see in cheerleading as well with more of the club teams, everyone has glitter on their uniform.
Wow.
If you don't have glitter, you're kind of
out.
You're missing out. But so they'll buy expensive uniforms from dance companies. Sometimes they can cost $100, $200 per athlete, and the accessories as well, because they have the feather on the headband, and the poms are cycled out through the years. They keep those.
Okay.
Because since there's no set uniform every year, the poms are the uniform. So it's exciting time when the different teams in the high school divisions, they each get a year where they get a new uniforms. So like football team, basketball, that sort of thing. But when the pom team gets new uniforms, they get new poms.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So usually they go for bigger and more sparkly. And
you open the box of the new poms and they just bust out.
They have that fresh smell.
The fresh pom smell. I love it.
And these athletes will actually, with their palms before they go on, they'll take a hair straightening iron and straighten out all the palms to make sure it's not crumpled up.
Oh my goodness.
Yep, because you want it to be as big as possible and give that added visual appeal. But they really think about every detail. And you can see they're all wearing the same leggings, the same shoes. Everything is the same, because it helps the judges. If they see differences and that sort of thing, it's going to detract from what's actually being performed.
The amount of detail that goes into it, I don't think we really appreciate it, but now you can see why they have such unity. This is outstanding. So this is Bethlehem Junior Pom, and you said there's a strong program there as well.
There is. And
you can see it in their routine.
Really can, and it's the teams that have the strong junior program where they can train the athletes to that senior level is where you really see success in the senior division, where they're really competing. They're actually competing at this competition here. But the junior program hasn't. When it first started out, they didn't compete at competitions. It wasn't super competitive, and it's great to see that that's developed as well. That regardless of what skill level you're at or age level, you can still have that competitive feel. Because I think competition does drive a lot of the skills that the athletes get. They want to work harder if there's some kind of possibility of the reward at the end, and it's that intrinsic motivation that they reach self-actualization when they work together as that team, and everything comes together, works out perfectly. You step off that mat knowing that you killed it, and it just gets that great feeling that really motivates these athletes.
That must feel fantastic. So as we've talked about, Pom's not kind of a traditional, it's got a mix of hip-hop or different kind of dance styles, and now we're going back to cheer here. This is Warman Ultimate Cheerleading Garnet, so they're 8 and under, I believe.
Yep.
And again, a competitive team, but at the younger level.
And you can see these are Warman's new uniforms that they got this year, so lots of glitter. They went for black. It's more uniform look. Prairie Fire did similar as well. And yeah, these uniforms really turned out well. I was excited to see them. Yeah, and this cheerleading community is so small that I have friends who are cheering on Warman. When I go to open gyms, we're coming from all these gyms just to work together and have fun. And especially on that adult level, it's really just, we're all here because we love it and we love the community, and it's great. It's nice that everyone can get excited about other gyms' successes.
Absolutely. Well, especially when they're young at this age. I mean, you're just so happy for them to watch them be out there doing such a great job and have the smiles on their faces, for real.
Yeah, so this team is really good about their cohesiveness, and just you can see the skills that they're performing, while they might not be the highest level, are tight, they're executed well, and when we say tight in cheerleading, it means they're squeezing their core, their shoulders, their legs, really everything, and you can tell when there's energy going through someone's arms versus when they're just holding them up. And it really that's what the judges see, and that's what really takes a routine from that lower range to the higher range of execution.
So again, when they're judging, let's say they were being judged, which they're not right now. This is a demo team, as we mentioned. But what if 99% of the team is doing an outstanding job, but you've got one who isn't? versus, let's say, a team that's just kind of showing up at 60%. How do you judge those? And you probably see that when you are judging and when you're performing, right? How do they look at those differently?
So you want to look at the overall effect of the routine. If there's one, chances are if the team has 99% of the athletes doing the skill, they did a good job to hide the one who can't, or they're using them in different ways to showcase their other strengths.
Okay.
But when you see a team that has, 60% of the team is doing it well, and there's, two stunt groups that are kind of lacking, it reduces that overall effect of just, wow, like, you can hear it in the crowd. The judges can pick up on this energy as well. When you continue to hit stunts and, one stunt hit, they move to an X formation, everything goes as well. The energy keeps on building, and as soon as you lose, even one stunt to a drop, it really can detract from that. And as a judge, that's what they are watching for. That's what hurts your execution scores.
You can see this squad spreading out on the mat and our camera moving to try and capture it all.
Trying to get it all.
And these two, they've got the crowd in their hand a little bit because I can hear a lot of screaming, especially when they do the lifts.
Yeah, and what's nice about this BRIT competition is they have all the pom teams facing one side and all the cheerleading teams facing the other. So, you can go it's hard for the parents who have people in both sports, but,
That's right.
they make it work. There's a lot of hustle and bustle between routines sometimes, but yeah, they're all cheering to their fans. It's not...
Another reason we're so happy to be here, bringing it live, and then again we repeat it and put it on our YouTube page so that all the competitors, can go back and watch it later. And I know they always say, please stay on a wide shot because we want to see how we're doing in unison and stuff. So often we'll do that.
No, the competitors use it and the coaches use it. They will tear that routine apart as soon as they get a video of it. And the thing with the sport like this is corrections are never a bad thing. If you're getting corrections, it means it's going to improve the overall part of the routine. And one of the things that these athletes need to understand and develop, and that kind of comes with later on as they mature more, is that it's not about what you're doing. Half the time in cheerleading, if they're doing a motion or something, it looks stupid by itself. But when you have a whole team doing it in unison, it really creates that image. And, it's hard for that athlete to understand at a younger age, but as you can develop that maturity within them, they kind of understand, like, this is for fulfilling something of a bigger picture.
Excellent explanation. So again, this is a competing team now for senior prom. Marion Graham won first place in 2011. So again, as we mentioned, it's been Bedford Road for 5 years. So again, another team that's probably just gunning for first. What an outstanding start.
And this is another co-ed team, which is good to see.
I love seeing
they're
that.
sharp. They're using those fast motions, combining with some slower stuff to create that contrast. Really using the music to choreograph their skills.
They're going palm free. What's happening here? Oh, I see.
You might see some of that tumbling, which typically you don't see as much of in a cheerleading routine, or in a pom routine, sorry, but it can add to the overall effect of that score, especially if they're tumbling and the formations behind are adding to that effect. But you can see they're making excellent use of music transitions to go between some higher energy and not slower, but just not like this where you have the whole crowd bobbing along to it, and the athletes are really feeding off the energy.
It's incredible the difference you can tell when the music is pumping them up and pumping us up.
They'll put in more of a baseline for parts that they want to highlight, and then keep it to more of those higher pitched treble noises when they need the transitions and the whole team doing something. A really high energy routine from there.
Incredible. I'm getting tired just watching it. And they are really all over the mat, like you said. And then
and a lot of these teams too, these athletes will be dancing at studios outside of school and trying to make it work with pom, which is a lot of the time difficult for coaches. Because they want the athletes at every practice, but they also can't argue when they're developing their skills in another place.
Right.
It just comes to making compromises, and sometimes they have to work with each other more than they'd like to, but...
Wow. That was a nice addition there.
Really great flexibility. You can tell that these athletes have trained that aspect in their practices. They spend time on skill development as well as the choreography of the routine. So often they'll spend the first 2 weeks to a month developing skills, making sure everyone's kind of on the same page, and then they'll start putting together that routine about a month before this competition, sometimes later than that even.
You're kidding.
Yeah, so it all happens really fast. And then,
what a cool ending.
Very good ending.
And we almost brought you an aerial view there, which I'm proud of. That was fantastic.
Lots of great contrast throughout the routine. Very strong performance from the athletes, and they killed the choreography that was given to them, which is great to see.
Way to go, Marion Graham, senior pom. Here's a look back.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next demo team, the Tommy Douglas Collegiate Junior Pom.
And there was that extra bit of, do you call this tumbling? That's
yeah,
what
that would be tumbling.
Extra bit of tumbling, like what you said, we don't always see in the pom squads. And some of the awesome choreography.
Yeah. You can see keeping that energy up even close to the end of the routine. It's not always easy.
No, and that was it felt like a long one.
Yeah, it was long, it was fast, it was a lot going on.
Cool ending. Love that. Way to go. So now all the teams, once they compete, go to the sidelines to watch them.
Yep.
Next teams, right?
So this is
Very
where you
cool.
can see that they're watching, they're supporting each other. That crowd just gets bigger and bigger as you keep going. So that's why it also is kind of hard to be that first team out there because, you know, you're not with as big of a crowd, but at the same time, that can be an advantage.
Get it out of the way so you can watch everyone else.
Exactly.
So this is Tommy Douglas Collegiate Junior Pom.
Yeah. See a palm toss followed by a Russian. So you can see some consistency between the skills that the coaches are choreographing into their routine, so there is some standardization to it. These are also just skills that you'll see in the dance world as well, whether they're lyrical, hip-hop, or jazz. These line formations, they look really good, but they're tricky. You know, if you have one person even a fraction out of line, you can tell. And that's a partner palm toss, which has a higher difficulty.
I don't think anyone dropped it.
No. So if they do that versus just exchanging the palm with themselves, that'll contribute better to their score sheet, but it is also a lot harder to execute. And the most difficult thing you can do is those partner palm tosses with a skill involved as well.
And if you did drop one, you have to retrieve it before you can continue?
Yeah, you have to.
That might get you out of sync as well.
Yeah, it puts you out of sync, and it's the judge. It's hard to it's hard to avoid looking at it, but once you see a palm on the ground, you're looking at it. And it detracts from the rest of the routine. And, you know, they try not to, and because they have such a sharp, hard deduction for that palm drop regardless, they try to just move forward and watch the rest of the routine. But yeah, that palm, if the person who drops it can't pick it up because they're transitioned across the mat already, someone else on the team will usually grab it from them.
I noticed there's one girl in the front whose hat has fallen over her eyes, and she is still hitting every mark. Good job.
You have no room to adjust your hat. You know, you can't fix your shorts or anything like that. You just gotta dance.
Good job. Way to go, Tommy Douglas.
So then what comes down to that there is, you know, sometimes they'll put a lot of hairspray on so that the hats stick to their head, glue everything in place.
Pin it in maybe, or
exactly. If they'll pin it in,
Ladies and gentlemen,
did you do palm as well, or completely cheer?
No, I was just completely cheer. So I was with the Bedford Road cheerleading team for the last 2 years of its program when I was in grade 9 and 10, and then from there I progressed to Prairie Fire, where I've been cheerleading now for 6 years, I believe, coaching for 4.
But the choreography has been a fun, collaborative process.
Outside of
they
school
hope you enjoy their routine and
have,
encourage other alumni to join in the fun.
And want to
now,
look for
please
the
welcome
next step. But also, if you're watching at home and you're thinking, how can I get into cheerleading without fully committing to a team, fully committing to that 8 months? Prairie Fire offers Learn to Cheer programs that start every 4 months.
That's
right. Every quarter of the year, I guess, you can join a team. Usually they're coached by me, but I'm taking a break from it this year just with my injury and everything. And we'll get you introduced to the sport, show you the stunts, show you some of the tumbling. It's once a week. It's on a weekend. There's no competition. And then once you do that, you're also more set to feed into a team. Now we have the Bedford Alumni Pom, which is always exciting.
So are these all former members of the Bedford team?
Yes.
And some of them might be actually coaching the younger ones now?
There are a lot of coaches on this team. Most of these, I think everyone on the mat I went to school with at one point or another, which is exciting. And they have a lot of fun with it. They don't have the pressure to compete. They have the younger pom teams who look up to this performance, and they just have fun with it. So these are the ones that really stuck with the sport and might have impacted them a lot more, and just have fun with the dance world.
And it must be awesome for them to be able to stay out there competing. Not just they probably do it in their own downtime and But obviously to get in front of a crowd must be addictive.
Yeah. Fun. They can work with that because all these athletes have worked together, been coaching together in the same program for well over 4 years now, that they can play to their strengths. They know who has what skills and what everyone's capable of, and they really just get to have fun with the routine. They all choreograph it together. And you can see, so in the front there, that's Lila Hidayat. She's one of the coaches of the Bedford senior pom team.
Awesome. Hello to her.
These athletes, they're all working full-time. A lot of them are students at university. Some of them are doing both. It's kind of, they go out of their way to make this happen, and it's great for the younger athletes who want to watch this and see where they can kind of go with the sport.
So we know like the Husky level and beyond if you're in cheer, but what about in pom? Is there stuff beyond the high school level and beyond?
With pom, it's less popular in Saskatoon. It's starting to develop now in the cheerleading world, but you know, studio dancing is kind of where it takes precedence. So if people want to dance outside of school, you're going to go to a dance studio for it, and that's kind of where you're going to get that full experience. That's where you can put 20 hours a week of dance in. Rather, Prairie Fire has a few pom teams that are just starting out this year for some of the younger athletes, and they don't have as much of that practice time. It's not like you can go to your lyrical class and then your hip-hop class and your jazz class and all these different development classes like we do with cheer, where we have the twice a week team practice, tumbling practices, and privates. You can get a more full dance experience through a studio. But in the United States, the pom is very popular.
It's growing.
Yeah, it's growing. They compete at the World Championships as well. But yeah, it's just kind of two different worlds, and it's interesting that they're bridging together with this.
Well, yeah, you assume they're connected when you see them together at BRIT, but that's not necessarily the case in the real world. And you're so great at explaining it all to us. It's fantastic. So that was the alumni pom again. So they're not competing. Those are the former participants. But
ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our final competing pom
as
team.
he's saying, here's
please
the final competing pom team. We're not done yet.
Squad.
Here we go, Walter Murray. So last year, I remember they had a freaky-deaky kind of insane asylum kind of theme.
Yep.
And it was really cool and unexpected. I'm excited to see. That's always part of the fun, is to see the music choices and the theme choices.
Yep.
Does the theme have any impact on what the judges think?
It doesn't really.
Not really.
You know, if you have a theme or something, it's nice that it gives the coaches something to choreograph to and stick around for what kind of impact they want to create. But you know, the judges are just looking.
They're looking at the moves.
Yeah, the moves, the high energy. They want to see a good routine regardless of what the theme is. And you know, the themes didn't actually become too popular until about 3 or 4 years ago. Before there were only a few schools doing a theme, and it was just kind of that high energy, crowd pumping music that every team was kind of putting out. So now it's nice to see how it's differentiated and that the creative aspect has really taken over, because in the United States, pom, where it is more of that structured, well, it's the same scoring system and everything, but when they do the pom there, they don't use the themes as much. Like, this is something that's very specific to Saskatchewan, I think, and even Canada. But
very cool.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how we've been able to develop the sport in our own way. And in Canada, you know, these sports have only been around for about 20, 25 years. So there is so much more room to grow, and I'm sure we'll see even more different regulations in place and rules develop and ways to make the sport safer and more achievable to have success at any level.
Absolutely. So again, this is a senior pom. So like you mentioned, this is probably some grade 12 and 11 students, but there could be grade 10 and grade 9 students as well, depending on their skill level.
Depending on the skill level, and also if there's a junior team or not, it may mean there's more grade 9 students on the team. But yeah, we're seeing a great energy from the Walter Murray Pom squad as our final competing team for the afternoon.
Very beat-heavy song.
Yep. They have the great sound systems to use in these gyms and the competition
it's quite the show
facilities,
live. If you want to fight the crowds to come in next year, I highly recommend it. It's awesome.
Out there, that's called a side aerial, so a no-handed cartwheel is what it kind of looks like, and it requires a lot of flexibility and a lot of speed in your tumbling, and you often have to be trained. You can't necessarily train an aerial like that. It's kind of with the body development and the body and spatial awareness that it'll kind of come to those athletes who work on skills similar to it.
They're always the crowd pleasers too, those standout moments, right?
Exactly, because how many people here can do a flip
Can do a
like
flip
that?
like
Ladies and gentlemen, the
that. It's amazing.
Senior
Oh,
Prom.
beautiful finale there. Great job. Walter Murray Collegiate Senior Pom.
All right, we have 4 more demo teams to go before we announce our award winners.
So
Up
that's
next
right, like you're saying, we got 4 more demo
is
teams to
the
go before they
warm
announce
and
the winners. That probably gives the
ultimate
judges time to go over their
Yeah.
final scoring
can-
and tabulate.
Go over their scores, get their paperwork in, deal with the computer if it's causing them any trouble.
And do you think, I would guess that when they start scoring at the beginning, maybe once you see the overall, it might change your thoughts. Can you go back and adjust your
these judges, I don't believe that they actually can go back. They're trained in a way that they will watch an example of a routine and then they have to score it appropriately, and they have to get that within a certain range to kind of understand, okay, what's really good, what's not as good, so that we have that standardization. So you're not saying, so you're not scoring 90, 100% in Saskatchewan, but then if you go to another province where the standard is much higher, scoring lower and then thinking, why do we score so low? We were doing so well in Saskatchewan. But because of that standardization process that we've seen in the past few years over cheer and pom, it really negates any of that. Everyone's judged on the same thing. And when you do go to travel, you know kind of what skill level you're at, because that has affected teams in past years when we go to the bigger competitions like nationals and worlds.
I can see that, and that makes a lot of sense too, because the energy in the crowd at this point might be higher because there's so many teams now on the sidelines cheering on their fellow teams.
Exactly, and
so you don't want that to affect their scoring.
No. So the judges, once they have everything written down in their pen, that's it. Yeah, it's done with.
Wow. Here's Warman Ultimate Cheer, the Rubies, also 8 and under. So again, they're competitive, but not today. This is a demonstration only.
Just demonstrating today. It's good because it gives the younger athletes an opportunity to perform, especially if they're new to the sport, so they haven't been in front of a crowd like that. These gyms, so Warman had their showcase last night actually, so all these teams will perform in front of their teams, in front of their fellow athletes, and parents will all come in and watch that, and that's a really exciting time. And Prairie Fire does theirs, I think, in a few weeks here. And it's almost turned these showcases, because both these gyms are so big, they will take a venue and like Prairie Fire will rent out Prairieland Park and almost run it like a competition, because they have so many teams.
Oh my goodness.
Hundreds of, in the 9 to 11 age division at Prairie Fire, I think we had 4 teams this year below, and that's ranging from basic, just starting out, all the way up to level 3, it's called, where they're throwing those extended stunts, full twists in their stunts. They throw tucks, backflips in their routines, and these are 9 to 11-year-olds doing all of this, which is really exciting to see.
That is really exciting.
Yeah. And in recent years too, we've seen Canada has been able to take the stage on the world's floor with their level 5 and 6 teams, really, and they're actually, becoming competitive at that world's level. Prairie Fire's level 5 open team placed 9th out of the Canadian teams at Worlds this past year, and are looking to up the ante this year. It's super competitive, kind of even in those adult teams, which is really great to see. Yeah, so they've had their showcase experience, they come to BRIT, and then once competition season starts rolling around, it's starting pretty well. You can compete as early as December, but most of them kind of, in Saskatchewan, we start January, February, going all the way up to April, and then the World Championships are at the end of April, beginning of May.
Wow.
And that's kind of when the sport dies down, but then usually for a lot of the competitive teams, tryouts are in May. As soon as you're done, you're back on a team again, there's no break. And if you're not on a team, you're kind of expected to take summer classes so that you can keep developing your skills.
Keep your up to par, That's intense. I don't think we realize the amount of athleticism that goes in even at this young of an age if you're committed to it. Oh my goodness, that was fantastic. And I hope we see in the replay that one where they all took a turn doing I don't know if it was a cartwheel or
cartwheels, walkovers is what we'd see at this level, but yeah, it's great when you can see that whole team.
Up next is the
performing those tumbles.
Bowman
right, and then also it feels like they all have a special moment in the sun or the spotlight, so to speak, which I really love seeing.
This is Bowman's first year with a dance team.
Here we go with some of these replays.
Yeah, so you can see, full team back walkover. Athletes are working really hard to have straight legs throughout the whole skill and execute it on time. They clap together, their hands go down on the same count, and they have to kick over at the same time. And as a judge, you can really pick that apart and tell, like, if someone's off time, it's easy to see. But here they have great execution. You can tell they've practiced that a lot. The coaches will really drill those tumbling skills in because it is such a big part of the cheerleading score sheet.
Great job, Rubies. And now we've got Aiden Bowman Collegiate Institute Jazz.
So these jazz teams you'll see are a little bit different in that they don't actually use palms. and it's all of that jazz dance. They don't incorporate as much of that hip hop, a little bit of the lyrical still, but this is more of a dance division.
Now, I think this might be the only jazz team in this year's BRIT.
It is. So they're just demoing, but then sometimes, you know, if a school is big enough, their dance program is large enough, they'll have a pom and a jazz team, often with athletes crossing over between the two, or some just committing to one if certain days work better for them or what the coaches need for their routine. But yeah, these dance programs at the high school, you start in grade 9 all the way through grade 12. You can take classes, and then you can join multiple pom teams, and then you have the opportunity to coach. It's cool how much of a learning environment is fostered from all of this, especially in just the past 10 years here.
It's great to see the sports diversifying as well. I know when I went to school, the options for female athletes felt limited sometimes.
Yep.
And to see these sports growing is fantastic. Yep. Not that it's necessarily, we love seeing the co-ed teams, and I wish there were more of that.
But it is nice for a space for women to really excel in a sport.
Yeah,
that was meant for
exactly.
them. And you know, there is kind of the argument of one guy can come into the sport and he'll get the spotlight, he'll be in the middle, and they're like, see, even they're doing a crazy lift like that. But no, it's a really inclusive sport. I'm glad that I got into it when I did.
Yeah.
You know, 5-6 years ago, and
yeah, just when it was probably starting to explode.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Aiden Bowman dance team.
Exciting jazz routine from the Aiden Bowman Bears. It's great to see because they've never actually had a dance program out of that gym. It's always been cheerleading has been their strong suit.
Okay.
So,
ladies and gentlemen, please give a very special BRIT welcome to the Bethlehem Superstars.
I hope we get to see that crazy lift again.
Yeah.
It's kind of a lift spin.
Yeah.
Although as a parent, watching your child be spun in the air must make you nervous. Do parents, are they out there biting their nails? Oh, see, here we go, doing these crazy lifts. And
and here it is, that
spin. My goodness.
Yeah, well, parents, a lot less now because of all the safety precautions that we take as coaches, and, you know, we're not pushing the athletes to do things that they're not ready for and making sure that they have the proper training for it. So it's a lot better for parents. You know, we used to say cheerleading had the most injuries. You'd get a broken nose from someone stepping on your face or a broken arm from falling, and now it's kind of, you don't fall in the first place. If an athlete hits the mat, you'll usually see a whole team doing 200 burpees because they just drill it out.
Yeah.
But now we have a staple of the competition coming up here, the Bethlehem Superstars.
Yeah, the crowd's going to go nuts. I can guarantee it.
Yeah.
Can you explain what the Superstars are all about?
So the Superstars operates out of Bethlehem Collegiate, and this is their, you know, special needs athletes who need additional help while they're going through school, that sort of thing. It gives them the opportunity to have fun in this dance environment, in this cheer environment.
And they have spirit by the bucket load.
Yeah. It's great to see. The crowd loves it.
Again, I recognized a few of the dancers from last year's routine.
Yep.
That is awesome.
You can just feel the energy take off in here. They're one of the last teams to perform every year. The crowd loves it.
The crowd loves it.
Judges do too. The judges are usually hoping that they're done with their score sheets by now so they can just sit back and enjoy.
Great arm moves. Lots of sass. I see a lot of sass in the front.
Lots of sass. They're having tons of fun out there. It's great.
Again, it's astonishing to me when you see some of the routines that they might have only been working together, this group as a unit, for like a month or so.
Exactly. You know, they only get a month or two to do it, and
it's
great to see what they can put together. And we'll see this team at all the local competitions in Saskatoon, which is nice.
Great.
And you even see like every athlete, every team will see development over the course of the season as time goes on. And what's interesting about the cheerleading and pom season is it is the longest season. Winter sports are the longest high school sports season.
Right.
You're with your team for, I think it's 6 months, I want to say, because, you know, football, volleyball, those will last the first 2 months, and track at the end will last 2 months, badminton, but these winter sports, basketball, cheerleading, pom, you really have that time to grow as a team and develop that sense of community within your team.
Awesome. So again, this is Bethlehem High School, and this is the only functional integrated class kind of team we see.
Yes,
let's hope it grows to other schools.
Yeah.
Finding their final spots, perhaps, for the final.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Showcasing all the different talents of the athletes.
Everyone's doing their own unique move.
Yeah.
Sweet. Awesome.
The Bethlehem Superstars!
And the Superstars are now getting a standing ovation from the crowd.
That's awesome. That was a great routine, such awesome energy, and the crowd here is going nuts. The 50th annual BRIT giving a standing ovation to the Bethlehem Superstars. Well deserved too. I could try not to cry, Alexander. I'm a bit of a tear maker.
Yeah, no, it's such a special, unique thing that this cheerleading competition brings together with those superstars, and it's great that the whole crowd gets involved with it as well.
Yeah.
And our final demo team,
I love that.
please give a very special
formation
to the University of Saskatchewan cheer team.
Now here's your team, and they're missing you, I'm sure.
Yep.
But you're going to be back out there soon.
Yep, I'll be back there soon enough. When I was on this team for the first year, it was a month before nationals that I injured myself, and that was kind of a struggle. But they just came off of a national championship victory in November. So they might not be performing their whole routine for us, just demoing some stunts depending on what the judges need. So yeah, you can see showing off that partner stunting.
Oh, sorry, on the screen there, you're still seeing the Bethlehem Superstars, but we've got the University of Saskatchewan cheer team here. They had an early, do you call that a tumble, a drop if someone?
Yeah, that would be dropping a skill, but you can see that she was still caught safely.
Yeah.
So now they're showing.
Oh yeah, safety's paramount. Does that rattle you though then for the rest, or your nerves a little up?
Yeah. You can see they're doing flipping transitions on the way down. This is the highest level of stunts that you can perform.
This is the highest level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now they're going to go and do some basket tosses for us. They can't perform their full structured routine because of how high of a level it is. They need that sprung floor to be able to do things safely. So you can see lots of height out of those baskets, and in the center there, Madison Brown, and she's a really exceptional tumbler. She has great body control, and I think she's going to start doing some flipping in this next basket toss. I've had the opportunity to compete with a lot of these athletes, and it's just great to see how they developed over the years. But yeah, it's kind of making your jaw drop right now.
Yeah, it is. Try not to use any expletives. It's incredible to see it in person as well, because you can see how far they're flying. Maybe on television you can't quite see the distance that they go to land. It's incredible.
They're going across panels. So now this is a stunt sequence. You can see they're doing a full twist all the way to the top.
Wow.
Extended one-leg stunts, flipping on their way down.
Now at this level, do you just undoubtedly have to trust your team?
Yeah.
And just in order to be able to commit to what you're doing?
It comes down to, if you drop your flyer once, she's not going to have that same level of trust, and she won't be able to know, okay, I will, no matter what, even if you fall, because you're going to fall 100 times before you can hit a skill, but you need to have that assurance that I'm going to get caught every single time. So like I said earlier, if an athlete gets dropped on any of these teams, they're going to be punished severely, because you can't have an athlete hit the ground. It is just, maybe 10 years ago that would have been something that happens, but if athletes are hitting the ground, there are some serious issues with the team itself, and that needs to be addressed as soon as possible so that you can really develop fully and make sure that safety is the #1 priority, because where there's safety, it leads to skill development.
Right.
You can see they're going to do a little bit of stunting and some tumbling.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Again, amazing too, so that high school level athletes can look ahead to see what's coming. I find it intimidating if I was at the high school level, but I suppose as an athlete building on those skills safely and slowly, it's just something to aspire to.
They work at the pace that they can, and these teams, so you can join this team right out of high school in your first year university. And how they operate is they run training camps over the summers. So throughout the summer, you'll go to different weekends where you work. They do 8 hours Saturday, 8 hours Sunday, work on all these skills. You know, a lot of these athletes are coming from out of town for school. They're not from Saskatoon, so it's important to do it in such a way that you can get everyone there, but also not tiring them out to the point that things are becoming unsafe again. But yeah, so they'll do 6 or 7 of these training camps throughout the summer, and then go into a regular practice schedule once the university school kind of kicks off. And all of these athletes have to be full-time students to qualify, so they're busy. But you can see the pyramids here, rather than being attached to each other, they're going over each other. They're holding 2 people, and then another one is going on top. You're going to see some flexibility here.
Oh my goodness.
And they're able to really make those eye-catching shapes in their pyramids.
Now at this point, is fatigue setting in at all, or are they so strong that
they're great execution. They're not performing their full routine, so it's just a few stunt sequences. It's a little bit easier than what they're used to, because they would have to be doing more skills than what they just showed us in that same 2.5-minute mark, and they're tired at the end of that.
Wow.
But a really great performance from the U of S cheer team.
That is some amazing
A very strong program there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to announce the results.
You can hear the announcer in here saying it's time to announce the results. So now all the teams, I believe, will scurry onto the mat.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone.
Oh no, they're going to clear the mats first.
They're going to clear the mat. They're going to get in their crews and do it as fast as they can. And then you're going to watch Bedford Road is going to race to get on top of that middle Red Hawk logo, which is kind of a tradition.
Oh, that's their tradition to find that spot?
Yeah, to get that spot.
That's fantastic.
It's our house and we got to hold it down.
I love it.
And especially, the senior captains are going to be the ones sitting right in the middle there, and they kind of work towards that. You build towards that over your years. You're not going to get that great spot in grade 9.
And again, the mat team doing an awesome job clearing them off at a quick pace.
Takes care of business.
So someone's been tabulating all the scores. And let's take a look again briefly at our competing teams. So we had the Bethlehem Senior Pom, Centennial Senior Pom, Bedford Road Senior Pom, Tommy Douglas, Marion Graham, and Walter Murray all Senior Pom teams. 6 teams to choose from, and they choose the top 3, I believe.
Yep.
And a glittering trophy for the winners, I presume.
Yep.
So as a competitor, how are you feeling at this point?
Well,
are you trying to guess what the judges have thought?
A lot of it is just relief that you've done. You've done everything you can. It's outside of your hands as to what happens next, and it's just kind of, you made it at this point. And oftentimes, it's less about, the winning is great, but when a team can say that they performed the absolute best that they possibly could have. I've been on teams before where we didn't win, but we felt like we had so much success just because we were able to put out our best routine that we possibly could. So,
your personal best, so to speak, right?
Exactly.
And can you tell even if you're not watching, can you tell as a unit when you've had a routine that really gelled versus one that didn't?
You can. It's the whole feel from every athlete. Everyone's going to come off the mat excited. It's really the crowd that gives it off first, because like I said, if you're not dropping stunts and you're executing everything.
So we had to pose for a photo there. Sorry, the paparazzi jumped in.
And what's actually kind of interesting about this competition too is they have, there's a really big photography program at Bedford Road, and so there's student photographers taking pictures of absolutely everything throughout the whole tournament.
I've noticed that because we do handheld camera on the sidelines, and often we're there jumping in front of each other. We're queuing for position to try and get the best shots, and it's I did not know that. That's why there's so many young photographers. That's great.
This tournament couldn't happen without all of the student volunteers as well as the teachers who dedicate their time outside of their work schedule to contribute to this competition.
Let's have another great
absolutely. I mean, you can see the dedication with the amount of work that goes in behind the scenes. This will just be outstanding. Apart from the BRIT crew, the coaches of all the teams and all the cheer and pom squads. Like, it's just an outstanding amount of work. And again, 50 years, like such a tradition that we're carrying on here into the future. Must be an incredible.
The Marion Graham Senior Pom.
Third place then goes to Marion Graham Senior Pom. Congratulations, that's fantastic.
In second place this
Second
year,
place.
the Centennial Senior Pom.
I think that spells it out.
Don't want to say anything just yet.
Just yet, just yet.
And this year's Pom champions are the Bedford Road Senior Pom.
I don't know what the term is for 6 in a row. A six-peat?
Something like that. A lot. You just kind of lose count. But, you know,
unbelievable.
And these athletes, they really put the work in. They're doing their, like everyone's doing morning practices and putting the time in. But you know, it's just the outstanding routine, the commitment that all these athletes put forward. You can really tell that.
And like we said, being able to bring it on the day of, because if you show up and you fall apart in your routine, well, it could have been the best routine in the world with the best athletes, but you're not going to see that.
No.
And again, Centennial's taking second place as they did last year. So I bet we're going to see some thirsty competitors next year. And I believe it was Marion Graham took third
this year's
place.
50 Pom.
They won first back in 2011, so third place in 2018. Fantastic work from everyone here today. The excitement, I'm sweating now. I don't care if it's 40 below outside, Alexander. It's hot in here. And there's the Bedford Road cheer. And that's tradition that we do every year. So that's it for us. Thank you so much, Alexander.
Thanks again for having me. I had a lot of fun today and always look forward to this cheer competition.
Awesome. I hope your knee heals up and we'll see you out there next year.
Thank you.
On behalf of Alexander Schubert and the entire Shaw TV crew, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jackie Kripke. Thanks for watching BRIT Cheer Pom live from Bedford Road.